Every TV fandom needs a villain. Even if there isn't one, the fans will make one. Sometimes it's the evil genius. Sometimes it's the corrupt politician. And sometimes it's just a woman who says, hey, maybe don't cook meth in our baby's nursery. Yeah, today we're talking about the most unfairly hated characters in TV history. The ones who became the internet's punching bags for absolutely no reason. From Skylar White's moral backbone to Meg Griffin's endless humiliation, these characters didn't ruin their shows. They held them together. But in a world that rewards coolness, chaos, and anti-heroes, being reasonable apparently makes you the enemy. So grab a snack, because we're unpacking why these 5 characters got hated for literally doing nothing wrong. Hit the like and subscribe button and let's get into it. Skylar White from Breaking Bad.
White, yo? Uh-huh. He told me everything. My brother-in-law is a DEA agent, and I will not hesitate to call him. Not if I have to.
Skylar White, the woman who committed the unforgivable TV sin of not being chill about her husband becoming a drug lord. When Breaking Bad aired, Walter White was hailed as a tragic genius, a man taking control of his life. Meanwhile, Skylar, who was literally trying to protect her children from a criminal empire, was painted as the nagging, joy-killing wife. But let's rewind a bit. When Skylar finds out Walt is lying, cooking meth, laundering money, and getting people killed, she doesn't call the cops. She tries to protect her family and survive a situation she never chose. She's terrified, and rightfully so, but audiences didn't want to see that. They wanted a cheerleader for their anti-hero fantasy. And when Skylar refused to play along, fans turned on her. Anna Gunn, who played Skylar, even received real-life hate mail, like death threats levels of hate, for portraying a fictional woman saying, "This is dangerous, Walter." What that really shows is how audiences are conditioned to side with cool bad guys, instead of moral realism. Skylar wasn't the villain, she was the conscience. And the fandom hated her for holding up a mirror to their favorite monster, Meg Griffin from Family Guy. Let's talk about Meg Griffin, the most disrespected teenager in cartoon history. Every single episode, Meg gets insulted, bullied, or ignored by her own family. And for what? For being awkward, for existing, for having a normal teenage face in a show where everyone looks like an inflated balloon.
I heard a noise. Is somebody downstairs?
Oh, God, Meg, you stuck.
What?
Hey, Meg, you sure look hot today.
Fire.
Meg's treatment is the running joke, but over time it became hard to ignore just how cruel it got. She's a target because the writers decided she's an easy laugh. But narratively speaking, Meg is the only sane one in that house. Peter's reckless, Lois is shallow, Chris is clueless, and Stewie is literally a baby supervillain. Meanwhile, Meg just wants to go to school, have a life, and be loved. But the show turns her pain into a punchline. There's actually a great fan theory that says Family Guy knows Meg is the emotional core, that she's the reminder that all this chaos has consequences. She's the tragic center in a family that thrives on absurdity. And the fact that fans went along with the joke shows how desensitized we are to cruelty played for laughs. She's not the joke. We are. So yeah, next time you watch Family Guy, maybe let Meg sit at the dinner table without emotional trauma for 5 seconds. Britta Perry from Community. Britta Perry started out as Community's cool, rebellious voice of reason. She questioned authority, stood up for her beliefs, and cared about things like morality, ethics, and social justice. Then the show and the fandom collectively decided she was dumb. Britted it became a phrase for messing something up. And suddenly, Britta went from idealistic to idiotic. But here's what's fascinating. Britta didn't change. The tone around her did. She was the same person. Awkward, passionate, inconsistent. But the show reframed her flaws as comedy instead of complexity. That's what happens when a character cares too much in a world that rewards irony. Britta is every person who wants to talk about serious things, but gets laughed at for killing the vibe. She's cringy, sure, but she's also the only one in the group trying to grow. And in a meta sense, Britta reflects the audience. We start out idealistic, we care, we try. And over time, cynicism makes us mock the parts of ourselves that still believe in something. So when fans say Britta's the worst, what they really mean is, she reminds me of when I used to care.
I don't give too much of a shit what people do behind closed doors with the consenting adults. What is it, my fault? You're twice as likely to be robbed by a black...
While Tony Soprano was universally loved for whatever he does, his son is not so much. AJ Soprano from The Sopranos. AJ Soprano might be one of the most misunderstood characters in all of TV drama. He's born into wealth, fear, and mob power, a world built on violence and secrecy. And when he fails to live up to Tony's image, fans label him lazy, weak, or pathetic. But think about it. AJ is a child in a family where empathy equals weakness. He's depressed, confused, and constantly compared to a father who solves every problem with intimidation. The audience expected another mobster in training, but AJ was too real. He didn't want to be violent. He didn't want to fake confidence. He just wanted to figure out who he was. And instead of respecting that vulnerability, fans mocked him. So yeah, maybe AJ didn't carry the Soprano legacy. But maybe that's because he was the only one brave enough to break it. Janice Littman from Friends. And finally, Janice Littman-Guralnick, the
Oh my God!
queen herself. This is dramatic. Janice has the kind of laugh that could crack glass. But Janice is also confident, affectionate, and genuinely loves Chandler. Something he wasn't mature enough to appreciate. The Friends gang treated her like an embarrassing inconvenience. But think about it. She never lied, never cheated, and always knew what she wanted. She was authentic, in a show full of characters who constantly avoided emotional honesty. The real reason people hated Janice? Because she didn't fit the cool New York aesthetic. She was the loud outsider in a world that worshipped sarcasm and coffeehouse vibes. Janice wasn't annoying, she was unapologetic. And that's what made her iconic. So what do Skylar, Meg, Britta, AJ, and Janice all have in common? They were real in worlds that didn't reward realness. They broke the illusion of the perfect character, and fans punished them for it. Skylar represented morality. Meg represented empathy. Britta represented care. AJ represented sensitivity. Janice represented authenticity. And in every case, the audience said, ugh, so annoying. But maybe that says more about us than about them. Because the truth is, these characters aren't bad. They're just the only ones who dared to act like actual human beings. So the next time you rewatch your favorite show, remember, if everyone hates a character for being real, they might just be the only one worth defending. Who else do you think gets hated for no reason? Let's talk in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and maybe apologize to Meg Griffin.